Hey everyone, it's Anthony again, and if you're a tutoring business owner relying on word of mouth and wondering why enrollments feel unpredictable, this video is for you. Now, a mistake I see quite often is people try to run paid ads and post content without a proper lead magnet in place. So today, I'm sharing a section of one of my private training modules where I break down exactly how to build lead magnets that builds trust, gains attention, and eventually converts into booked appointments. This is normally something I teach inside my program, but I'm sharing it publicly because if you get this right, marketing becomes 10 times easier. So watch this with a pen and paper because this is pure strategy, and let's get into it. Hey, how's it going everyone? And welcome to Lead Magnet Mastery. We're super excited to have you here. The next series of videos and resources that we'll be going to cover will tell you exactly everything you need to know to do with lead magnets and free resources for tutoring companies. Whether you're an established tutoring business or just starting out, you'll find the following series of videos and the entire module to be incredibly useful. We'll talk about everything you need to know about lead magnets, everything from why they're useful to how to actually start creating your first lead magnet from scratch. So let's jump right in. This is the Enroll Engine playbook for effective converting lead magnets and free resources for tutoring companies. We'll be walking through everything you need to know, from why lead magnets are important to creating your very first lead magnet tailored to your ideal customer. Now, as you go through the resource, if you could please refer to this sheet for the action items, the one right here, it will help you go through all of the procedure and the step-by-step for actually creating your lead magnet. And we'll talk about this shortly. For now, let's talk about the foundations and the principles of lead magnets. So the elephant in the room, what even is a lead magnet? Now, let me tell you, a lead magnet is something small and valuable that helps a specific market solve a specific problem. It is a complete solution to a narrow problem offered at a significant discount, or often for free, to attract ideal customers. And in other words, I'll give you this helpful thing that you want that will solve your problem, and you give me your details. Deal. Once an effective lead magnet solves the narrow problem, it should reveal the next problem, which is solved only by your core offer. So some examples is food samples at your local grocery store or Costco, some free trials for some subscription services you might be a part of, free assessments, checklists, and free consultations. So why lead magnets? Now, it would be absolutely possible to pitch your core offer to a market that has low trust in you and sell a few customers. Many will probably still purchase if they're in enough pain, and we position our offer effectively. Most businesses are actually built on this idea. Now, alternatively, I want you to consider the situation where we take a low trust market and introduce a lead magnet. If we can help solve their narrow problem at a much smaller commitment and often for free, then they'd be much more inclined to rely on you to solve their larger problem or their next problem. That's when we make a pitch for our core offer and our paid service to a much higher trust market. They actually know you, you've solved one of their problems, the trust is there, and you'll probably have a considerably larger take on your paid service than if you were to just go with the low trust market and pitching right away. It generates further trust in your business, makes you stand out from your competition, and results in asymmetric returns, which essentially means more bang for your buck. It's for a low initial investment of your time and resources, and it would work. It'd work quite well. The key here is that you need your lead magnet to be exceptional. And why is that? Remember your last Costco run? If the food sample you had was terrible, you're definitely not going to be buying the product. And your last software subscription, if the 30-day or 7-day free trial was not worth your time and you didn't see much value out of it, you definitely wouldn't be buying the standard monthly membership. So similarly, if your lead magnet is not exceptional to your ideal customer, don't expect them to purchase your core offer, at least in the short term. Over the long term, if they consistently have their problem, they might come back to you, but don't expect them in the short term to actually purchase your paid service. So the key benefits of using a lead magnet. Firstly, it builds relationships and trust. Secondly, it's an opportunity for you to share valuable content that your competitors might not actually know or have. Thirdly, you get to position yourself as an authority figure and an expert. Fourthly, you can convert your audiences into actually paying clients more often than not. And lastly, there is an increased perceived value of your paid service and product. If your free stuff, your lead magnet was that good, imagine how good your paid service would be. That's what they'll be thinking. So when and where are lead magnets actually used? Lead magnets are not standalone assets. I need you to understand that. They are cogs in a system, and they act as an entry point into a larger marketing and enrollment system. They're a small part of a larger system. They're used before someone is ready to buy, and wherever your ideal customer is already paying attention or hanging out. They work best when your audience is not ready to commit to tutoring, they have questions or doubts, or they feel and know that they have a problem, but they haven't exactly decided how to solve it just yet. If your lead magnet isn't placed at the right moment or in the right location, even a great one will underperform. So let me tell you where you should be placing your lead magnets, which is any of the following locations. Firstly, paid traffic, meta ads. This targets the cold segment of your audience that don't know you at all and have never heard of you. A landing page. So it's a low commitment opt-in, like providing the email before booking a call, which is slightly higher commitment. Now, it helps you target the people that may have viewed your landing page and are slightly interested, but they're not just ready yet to schedule a time in the calendar. Thirdly, on your website, you can catch the parents or the students that are just researching or comparing options with competitors, and it may just push you over the edge as the better option. Fourth is your social media, such as your Instagram, your YouTube, your LinkedIn, and etc. It's an opportunity to provide extra value and incentivize them to reach out to you instead of just saying, DM us for more info. And lastly, email and SMS campaigns. It's for when conversations and nurturing gets cold. You can revitalize the conversation and you can use a lead magnet to spark and really get them to do action. The rule of thumb is lead magnets are used whenever asking for a sale or for a call would be a little bit too early and to reduce friction and build trust before asking for their commitment. Now, the 7 principles that make lead magnets convert. These are incredibly important. Most tutoring companies don't fail because of a lack of expertise. They fail because their marketing attracts the wrong parents at the wrong time with the wrong expectations. The principles below, the 7 principles, exist to solve that problem and to outline what you can do about that. Each one is designed to help you attract serious, relevant parents and naturally move them towards enrollment. Firstly, catalysts, not content. A lead magnet is not something you want to teach or to inform. Yes, it achieves this, but it shouldn't be your primary objective. Instead, a lead magnet is a catalyst and a mechanism designed to cause a specific behavioral outcome. Now, that's a bit jargony and we'll elaborate and explain shortly. So, content, the stuff you see on Instagram, on your socials, your short form content, your long form content, that exists to be consumed. A catalyst, on the other hand, exists to cause action. We want to cause action. That's what we want our lead magnet to do. Specifically, we want to make our target market move forward to the next desired step, which is often to book a call. Now, where most tutoring businesses go wrong is they think if I give parents a boatload of helpful information, they'll surely buy my stuff. They create long study guides, generic PDFs, and tips to improve at maths. They're useful, but they don't necessarily force a decision or outline a next step. As an example, content would be 10 study tips for Year 6 students, things you might see in a YouTube video. A catalyst would be, is your Year 6 child actually ready for selective school? The first one might be an ebook with 10 study tips, and the second one might be a diagnostic test. What do you think will do better? The second one will always win. So if someone can consume it and feel done, that they've got their problem solved and there's no need to reach back out to you, that's content. If consuming it creates tension that demands a next step from them, that is a catalyst. So in short, if it doesn't force a decision, it's not the best lead magnet. Now, Content lead magnet forms, they can work. They can work over time and they will bring brand awareness. They'll probably work much better than not having one at all, for sure. But what we want is good lead magnets, and actually the best lead magnets, which are catalysts. So principle number 2, segmentation. Not all leads are created equal. A good lead magnet should show you exactly who is serious, who is urgent, who is worth following up with, and who is actually not ready. What a prospect is willing to do for free predicts what they'll be willing to pay for much later. Now, understand that time, effort, vulnerability, and commitment of your target audience is as much currency as is money. So if they're giving you their time, their effort, their vulnerability, and their commitment, that is a really good indicator. So I have this table for you. What they give and what it signals. If a lead gives their email only, you can kind of tell that's pretty low intent. That's low friction, is low intent, and it doesn't really indicate too much. If they give you your time, pretty medium intent. If they give you their personal data, such as their kids' marks or their child's reports, that's relatively high intent. And lastly, if they actually give a calendar commitment, which oftentimes entails all three of these. A calendar commitment requires their phone number, their email, their time, their personal data, such as how they're going, how their child is progressing, talk about the reports. That is very high intent. Segmentation allows you to slow down with the low intent parents and speed up with the high intent ones. So I want you to strive to create lead magnets that enable leads to actually indicate their level of intent. If the only option you have is to give their email, it's really hard to tell who is urgent and who is not. So try to think of options for you to have all of these available where they can indicate their low, medium, high, or very high intent. And actually emphasize the urgency to solve their problem now. It's one of the most important things that go underemphasized and underutilized is urgency. So a few things I want you to ask yourself when you're creating lead magnets or when you come across other competitor lead magnets is, who does this actually attract and who does this repel? That should be really clear. Secondly, what does completing this, let's say it's an ebook, a test, and a diagnostic assessment, what does completing it actually say about urgency? And lastly, what does it say about the willingness to act, about the time commitment, and etc.? So in short, a good lead magnet should indicate your lead's level of intent and their quality of a lead. Principle number 3, packaging. Let me tell you, packaging is everything. Attention spans nowadays are shorter than ever, and there are all sorts of stimuli and businesses fighting for the attention of your ideal customer. It's the whole idea of why a hook in a short form video or a trailer in a movie is oftentimes the most vital. It captures the attention of your audience. Now, audiences will dedicate a minuscule portion of their attention to our lead magnet, so we must capture it the best that we can. And how do we do that? With solid naming that resonates with their intention and desires, and if applicable, an aesthetic set of creatives. The name and thumbnail of your lead magnet is the first touch that your prospect will engage with, so actually make them want to click with it, make them want to engage with it, and make it aesthetic. And we'll talk more about how to do this later in the naming and creating sections. So in short, naming and aesthetics is as important as the content. Principle number 4, specificity. Leads don't want more information. They want certainty about the situation. So most tutoring businesses, they think comprehensive resources will show parents just how much of an expert we are. They create lead magnets that seem really impressive, but are way too broad. Think the ultimate guide to academic success. That is way too broad. Academic success can mean languages, it can mean kindy to year 12, it can mean university, it can mean beyond university. It's way too broad. And the ultimate guide is also way too broad. It's a combination of broad factors. Everything you need to know about study skills, also incredibly broad. Instead, a better angle and a better lead magnet would be something specific. How to fix algebra gaps before year 9, so they're probably at the end of year 8, even if your child is already behind. So that's the problem, and that's the specificity. The second one always wins because it makes the reader think, wow, this is just for me. If your lead magnet could apply to most students in your audience, it's way too broad. So in short, make your lead magnet tailored to your lead situation and their circumstances. We move on to the fifth principle, which is speed to value. Nowadays, people decide whether something is worth it in seconds, not minutes. So making leads read all 20 pages of your ebook before something makes sense, or having viewers watch the full video to understand a single concept, or getting prospects to complete all sections to get the result, let me tell you, that delays value and it absolutely destroys conversions and opt-ins. High-performing lead magnets, on the other hand, they deliver something meaningful immediately and then deepen the engagement the further they interact. It doesn't mean we provide shallow value because, like we said, lead magnets must be exceptional and they must be worth the time and the effort. But instead, we opt for fast clarity and early wins as soon as we can. I'll give you a few examples. So let's take a quiz. Let's take a quiz for Year 8 students. A quiz after, let's say it's 10 or so questions, after they complete that, they should be getting an instant score and the deeper breakdown only after they opt in. Let's take an assessment. After the assessment is complete, you should be getting an instant summary and then a full report after. For an ebook, the instant key takeaways should be at the very beginning or towards the start, and the detailed explanations can be the further they read. Now, one thing I'd like to add here is that if a lead, let's say, engages in your ebook, they view the key takeaways, and then they immediately leave or hop off and close the ebook, and they don't look at the detailed explanations the further they read, and they don't reach back out to you, let me tell you that they probably weren't going to be the best leads in the first place. They probably weren't going to be booking a call. They probably just wanted to satiate their curiosity, and they're probably not going to be the ones that you want to work with in the first place, at least for the short term. So it's another element of segmentation that we can have by providing the speed to value. Only the call to action that's at the end, where if they engage in the entire lead magnet, they can express their interest, then that's an opportunity for you to segmentize, I don't know if that's a word, but essentially have a segmentation of the hard workers and the instant movers, essentially. So in short, you want to provide clarity in your early wins, and you want to speed up the time it takes to get what they actually want. It might seem a bit contradictory, but let me tell you, that is the truth. Principle number 6 is pre-selling. So a lead magnet must relate to your core offer, and it, in a way, should be pre-selling what you actually do as a paid service. It should quietly show that engaging in your main service is the logical next step for them. It should justify the expert help that you provide. So I'll give you 2 common mistakes. The first is giving away everything that you could possibly share with no transition to the next step. And the second is teaching or providing value that is unrelated to your core paid service. The second one is definitely less common, but very detrimental. So those are the most 2 common mistakes that we see regarding lead magnets. So as a result of these 2 common mistakes, parents will either feel sorted, like they don't need to reach back out to you, they don't have a next problem, they're done, and you've just solved it for them and they'll never come back to you or will down way later down the line. Or they'll feel confused because what you're providing value for is just completely unrelated to what you do in the first place in the business. So here's an example of what you should be doing. So first step, you have a diagnostic report to highlight the gaps in the student's learning. It's a lead magnet, it's a diagnostic report, it's free, and it gets them to engage with you. The second is actually justifying why it actually is important to address the gaps that you've identified. The third is a bit of an explanation on what should happen next from here. And the fourth is an emphasis that these steps probably require guidance. So what this does, it makes DIY, so doing the solution for themselves at home, it makes it feel risky, it makes it feel slow, and it makes it feel incomplete without ever saying it directly to them. You just show them and you don't tell them. So you want to make tutoring feel necessary. You want to make tutoring feel necessary, and you want to make it not feel optional. After all, you should have the conviction and the confidence in your service that it will actually help them get to their goals faster and more reliably. So in short, your lead magnet should relate, or actually it must relate, to your core offer and keep it relevant. Let's move on to the seventh and the final principle, which is distribution. A great lead magnet that's hard to consume will lose to a decent one that's frictionless. How accessible a lead magnet is as important as its quality. So consider how your lead magnet is accessed, where your lead magnet is encountered, and how much effort is required before they can actually engage with it. The top performing tutoring lead magnets, they work on mobile and desktop, they're responsive, they can be previewed in ads or web pages, and they require minimal typing to access. So don't have a whole system where they need to provide their email, and then in the email they get a hyperlink where they need to give some more information to you. That's just completely unnecessary, and it adds friction, which we don't want to do. Most parents will encounter your lead magnet on their phone, by the way, while distracted and emotionally overloaded. So you want to design for that scenario when you actually get to the creating stage of this resource. So in short, make your lead magnet easy to consume and make it frictionless. Let me add that there. Make it frictionless, okay? Wonderful. So today in this module, in this video, we've just talked about the fundamentals and the foundations, what a lead magnet is, why we use it, where it's placed, as well as the 7 key principles. So let's move on to the next one and I'll see you soon. So welcome back to Lead Magnet Mastery. We're in the second video now, and in this one we'll be talking about how to actually choose the right lead magnet for you, for your business and for your offer. So we'll be talking about a range of things from objectives to type of lead magnets, and we'll also have a bunch of examples for you to see for yourself what a lead magnet actually looks like. So let's jump right in. So at this stage, you might be thinking, great, the principles made sense, but given my tutoring business, my audience, and my offer, what exactly is the best lead magnet to deploy? I want you to always decide in this order, just to preface. Firstly, who you're targeting, what problem you're solving, what level of intent you want, which lead magnet fits that type, or which lead magnet type fits the problem, the audience, and the level of intent, and lastly, how it will be delivered. So a first action item for you. I want you to do step 1 and 2. I want you to pick who you are targeting and what narrow problem you want to solve. As a reminder, you can do that in the asset creation section in the resource down below. You can click here for a Google Doc in the PDF so you can actually get this and make a copy for yourself. And have a read of the introduction, the important points that come from the principles, and do step 1 and 2 after reading through the examples. So for step 1, have a careful think about your target audience, who you're actually presenting the lead magnet to, and describe what they're like and who they are. Also do step 2, which is picking the narrow problem that they face you want to solve. So a small problem and a very specific one that your target audience faces, and how you can, not how, but something that you can help them solve. And it should be a problem the parent already worries about right now. So we have some examples for you to hear. I want you to pause the video now and complete step 1 and 2. Cool. I'm assuming that you've done that, so let's hop back over to the document and let's talk about objectives. So let's now narrow down our objectives for creating a lead magnet. What do we actually want to focus on? What the lead magnet is designed to achieve? Now, this can be one of 3 things, or it could be multiple as well, but for most, you want to be collecting the contact information and generating opt-ins. For everybody, you want to be identifying the hyper-responsive segment of your target market, which is the people that actually respond to you and interact with you. And for larger businesses or social media placements, you want to be increasing the engagement and driving brand awareness. This materializes in the forms of views, comments, and overall interactions with your brand and your socials. So now I want you to also do step number 3, which is pick your lead magnet objective based on the level of intent that you want. So from principle 1 in the previous video, we've talked a little bit about what they give and what it signals and the level of intent a little bit. Based on that, head on over to step 3 and actually identify your objective. What do you actually want to ultimately achieve? And what information do we want to collect? This kind of determines how serious the leads will be. As you can see from the examples, you can create a lead magnet that collects multiple. So you can get emails, you can get their time, you can get an actual booked call, or a trial lesson or a trial class. So be specific and really think about what will be suitable for your business and your offer. So take a moment now to do that one. Cool. So now let's actually talk about the types of lead magnets that exist. There are 3 core types of lead magnets, broadly speaking. The first one is a problem identification. I want you to think of this one as the doctor's diagnosis. When people have symptoms, they usually turn up to the GP or the doctor explaining their circumstances and the situation, and the doctor gives them a bit of a diagnosis on exactly what the problem is and how to solve it. That's what we want our lead magnet to do for this type of lead magnet. You want to bring a latent pain point, which you can think about as the symptoms, and the problem that they face to attention. Tell them how serious it is, if it is serious at all. And this usually works great for problems that get worse while you wait. It creates that urgency. So some examples are assessment tests or diagnosis. So you can actually identify, here's your gaps, here's the problems, and here's what you can do about it. A HSC readiness quiz, so how ready are you as a quiz or a checklist for the year ahead or for the next 2 years that lie ahead? Is your child ready for the VCE checklist as well, so for parents? So does your child actually need tutoring? Let's do a checklist to find out. That's the first one, a problem identification. The second lead magnet type is a free trial. So I want you to think of this as having a taste of what the service could look like. We offer a free or extremely discounted trial into our core offer or in our paid service. And we can either limit the number of uses, so the number of classes, so maybe like 2 free trial classes or 1 free trial class. We can limit the time for access, so you sometimes might see a 1-week trial period, or we can do both. So a 1-week trial period or 2 classes, whatever comes first. And it works great for service-based offers just like us, and especially those that have exceptional quality. So some examples are, of course, the free discounted trial class, a free subject resource, or courses and audio files. The third lead magnet type is a free first step. So think of this as crawling before we run. We share the first step or the first few steps in the grand scheme of a large number of steps. It's a sequential service or a product that naturally leads to a second step, which we solve through our core offer. And it works great for step-by-step services or products. In tutoring, this is less prevalent, but we still have some examples for you. So you can have a free linear equations ebook and exam that, once again, it identifies the next step, which is getting a transition into a diagnostic report. And the next step could be the next topic. So if it's linear equations this time, in the paid service, you can solve and master quadratic equations and all sorts of other maths topics as well. Another example is how to master introductions in creative writing. So small step there. Of course, creative writing, you have paragraphs, you have teal, you have all sorts of other things like conclusions and creative thinking. And the next step in this one could be that, or it could be a free audit as well. You can also have a free or a discounted diagnostic assessment as part of this too. So I want you to think about your audience and choose based on how ready they are for this. So oftentimes a problem identification could work great. And in the situation that will work great is if parents are unaware or unsure whether they have a problem in the first place, then problem identification could be good. So if a parent doesn't know if their child actually needs tutoring, problem identification, killer. If parents know they have a problem, but they're just a bit curious or a bit cautious, then a free first step can work great. And if parents are already convinced, but they're just kind of seeing what options they have, then a free trial can work great as well. You can kind of pitch it in the way that you can do your research for the next week, or you can get started with us through a free trial, no commitment, no strings attached tomorrow. It works great. So I want you to start with the most relevant, and then you can build out the others as you go. Oftentimes, multiple lead magnets work really great. So you can have one for problem identification for the cold audience. You can have one for a free first step, and you can have one for the free trial. Many companies do this. So, action step for you. I want you to pick how you want to solve the narrow problem that makes the most sense for your audience or offer or service. In other words, I want you to pick a type of lead magnet. So this should be step 4, pick your type of lead magnet. How do you want to solve their narrow problem that makes most sense for them? It should match how ready your audience is to act. We have some examples here for you. So now let's talk about our method of delivery. Delivery is how the lead magnet is experienced, not exactly what the lead magnet is, which we covered before. And there are 4 key methods of deliverability for lead magnets. The first is software. You provide them a tool they can use. An example in the tutoring niche is ATAR or study score calculators. And you can add a text here that can really help this transition into the next step, which is, here's you and your score, here's our average student, and here's how we can get you there. Would you like to know more? It works great. You can also have an exam or homework helper AI that's built on thousands of hours of our tutoring experience and resources, given that you have the resources allocated for this. The second is information, which is where you teach them something. I'm just going to change the formatting of this one here to match that. Cool. An example is courses, videos, guide, PDFs or documents, and webinars. The third one is services, which is absolutely awesome and very relevant for what we do, which is you do some work or some form of work for free, and it'll create so much goodwill from giving the work away that they know will usually take a lot of time. And it can actually be automated so it doesn't take too much of your time too. Examples are free consultations or strategy sessions, free group tutoring classes, a free diagnostic report where the parents will send a report card and we send them a 1-page PDF report. You can templatize this one and this one tends to work great. You can have free past paper markings or custom student study plan and roadmap. And the last one, which is a little bit less relevant for our market, is product. You give them something they can have and keep. It's a tangible product they can hold in their hands that offers more value than a digital product and creates more impressions. Because of course, holding something in your hand and seeing it more often, it works much more than a digital product, but a bit less relevant for what we do. You can of course print out a parent guide prep pack or a physical book or a brand t-shirt, although that's not as relevant. You can if you'd like to. But the the very important thing to know is that it's always important and you always want to keep the lead magnet as close as possible to the core offer. If you gave away a free pencil case and you offer tutoring classes, the prospects won't necessarily want the next thing. It's not a natural transition. That would be a good lead magnet for something like Officeworks or a stationery company because they'll most likely come back to you for stationery given that the pencil case is really good, but it's not what we want for our service. So don't give that. Now, it's not that lead magnets are necessarily good or bad. It's whether they are effective for our core offer and business. So make sure the thing that we're giving away is an effective transition to the problem our core offer solves. So here's the next action item. I want you to pick how to deliver your small, valuable solution. That is step 5, your method of delivery. How do you want to deliver your small, valuable solution? And this is how the lead experiences the value. So we have a few examples here, like the online readiness quiz that links to an automated score and a short written summary, which falls under service and software. You can have multiple forms of delivery if you'd like information and service, service alone. It's up to you. Take your time, pause the video and do that now. Okay, now I want to spend the last bit of this video talking about some examples of lead magnets we've seen over the past years and months. So we've got free trials. We have diagnostic assessments and reports. We have exam reports. We have parent packs and informations. We have cheat sheets for exams. We have free checklists. We have templates like essay templates or exam answer templates that are pre-written up from high-achieving students. We have calculators like study score calculators and etc. We have an AI tool. We have printables like daily planners, study calendars, etc. As long as you're able to actually link it to a natural next step. A blueprint and roadmap. Works really well if you tailor it. A tracker, like a habit tracker, study tracker, exam score tracker. Not really as relevant for a cold audience if you want to do a logical next step there, a bit more difficult. You have coupons and discounts, so like a 50% off for the holidays if you do X. That can sometimes work really well. You can have resource lists and tip sheets as well. And the list goes on. There's so many you can think about. Just kind of put everything together to see what works best for you. At the bottom here, I've got some images and screenshots of some that we've seen that has been in use at the moment that's worked really well. So we have 12 secrets to prepare your child for selective success. This is one that our team recently made. It's a parent's guidebook that also transitions to the next step, which is selective tutoring. If you can see this one, I'll zoom a little bit more. This is by a company where you have a free GATE, ATAR, VCE, HSC mock exam where you have a few dates, you have session times, and the students can come in to do a free mock exam. And as a transition from this, in the next year, if they're Year 11 students, for example, they can join the service because they loved the lead magnet. You can also have resources like this where it's a booklet that's pre-made as revision, and it can also be an exam, like a practice exam. And at the end, you can have like the answers and the average score for our students and how does that compare to you, for example. Or if you want the answers, you've got to come in and reach out to us and then we can hop on a call. That usually works very well as well. We can have a page on your website where it's a collection of resources, right? This helps for exam revision for Unit 3 and 4, practice questions, area of study, exam style questions. This can work really well. You can also have information on your landing page or your ads or your website for free trial weeks, where it's a bit of a marketing campaign where you get a free trial week with free 2-hour class and a bonus 2-hour workshop and a free resource pack. Really stack the lead magnet with a bunch of different offers and services, as well as a location. Here's an example of an ATAR calculator by a tutoring company. You can build this one out if you want, because after all, if they're using a calculator, which most students are, you'd rather them use it on your website, which may lead to them naturally looking at your services. You can also have a form alongside a free tutoring lesson where they provide the details and then they can sign up for one. And what I really liked about this one is the value that they put at the top. If you always tie it to a time or a value in terms of monetary figures, that also really does really well. So for example, in this one, you can do a free practice exam worth $100 built by a 99.95 ATAR student, for example. Or it can be 12 secrets to prepare your child for selective success. And on the landing page that you actually have this, you can go like save 10 hours of future planning, something like that. You know, if you have it tied to like a bonus of a monetary or time fit value, that does really well. Cool. And I also like the number of parents that submitted the form. That can be a really good indicator as well. So awesome. And that's just some few examples. Take your time to read through them and make sure that you've completed up to step 5 of the asset creation. That's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one, which is our third and final video for this module. I'll see you there. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lead Magnet Mastery. Today we'll be talking about creating your lead magnet in this third and final section of the module. Now, let's talk about lead magnet framing one more time. So remember, if we go back to the principles, framing was one of our principles here. Packaging. So packaging, in other words, framing, it's everything. It's the name, it's the thumbnail, it's the hook. It's very important because of the attention span of our audience. Now, we want to use something called the GOLD framework to create a compelling and attractive name for your lead magnet. So what does GOLD stand for? G is for goal, O is for offer type, L is for level, and D is for detail. So the goal, what will the lead magnet help them achieve? You know, what is the outcome, the benefit? The offer type, what is the lead magnet type from the previous steps that we've outlined? So pick your lead magnet type since step 4. The level, so who's it actually targeted to and who is the audience, which is also from a previous step. And the detail, can we use any descriptive words or any pattern interrupts to make the name more memorable? And here's a formula. You want to put the delivery format, so the lead magnet type, so maybe I just put the type format to goal for audience level plus descriptive detail. That is a great formula to use for your lead magnet names. I'll give an example. I'll give you 2 examples. So the goal, we want them to ace VC methods. The offer type, it's going to be a guide. It's going to be an ebook, right? But we can just specify it as a guide. The level is for senior students. So specifically, let's make it for year 12 students. And the detail, it's going to be a complete guide. It's going to be for the people that have struggled in term 1. So just being a little bit more specific. You could even add this to the level here. Now, putting that together, you have, it's a complete guide, so the type format, to the goal, ACE/VC methods, for the year 12 students, and then the descriptive detail, who struggled in term 1, and then we also have the monetary figure of the value. This is all for free, but we value at $500, right? It just puts that extra bonus there where it's like, wow, if they're giving me this for free and it's this exceptional, I wonder how good their paid service is, right? Another example, the goal. We want them to pass the selective school examination. The offer type, it's gonna be a checklist or a quiz. The level is for year 7 parents, and the detail is, are they ready? Are you sure you're ready? We'll put this together. So the checklist, quiz, type format, quiz, colon. The goal is to pass the selective school exam. Now in this one, of course, it would sound weird for selective school exam, is your year 7 child ready? Like, it would work, but grammatically, we just put that at the end. And we want them to be for year 7 child and are you ready? Yeah? Cool. So when you're figuring out the best naming for your lead magnet, spare no effort to figure out what hits the best. Make sure you really know what resonates with your audience. So you can make a poll, make a post, DM people in your audience, maybe even contact your existing customers. And when someone responds with, when is this coming out? Or when can I have access to it? Or something along the lines of that, that's when you know you have a winner. Something that really hits and that really makes sense and it's clear enough of the benefit. So action item, let's move on. I want you to go to step number 6, which is just overleaf, and create your lead magnet name. I want you to actually come up with 3 suitable names for this one lead magnet because you never know what will work the best. So just create 3 for now. And after you do so, let's move on to the next step. So pause the video now, make sure you've done that. I'm assuming you have at this point. And let's talk about making it time-bound and quantifiable. So a lead magnet without a clear time frame or measurable outcome, it feels optional. There's no urgency. And optional things get delayed, and delayed things get forgotten or ignored. So if you want parents to act now, your lead magnet must fundamentally answer 2 silent questions immediately. We call it silent questions because you're not actually asking them. The first one is, or the parents aren't actually asking you. The first one is, how long will this take for me to complete or interact with? And the second is, what will I even get at the end? So the time commitment and the time bound is the first question, and the measurability and the quantifiability is in the second. You want to let the benefits and the gaps be clear and measurable. What I mean by gaps is benefits and weaknesses that you can identify. Quantifiable results often reveal a gap. That gap creates some new questions. What do we do about this now? How do we fix it properly? And can this improve in time? Your tutoring service becomes the obvious answer. So I'll give you some examples to really clear up what I mean. When you do a readiness score, you want to give them an actual score, so something that's quantifiable. If you're naming, preferably you want to put the number like a list. So 3 priority skill gaps identified, right? You want to, in some results, have your child is 6 months behind in writing. Something that's actually measurable and quantifiable. 15-minute assessment that identifies your child's top 3 learning gaps. That's an example of a bit of a subline or a name. An estimated ATAR range with and without support you can kind of provide. So without support, you might be getting 80 to 85. With support, you can be getting 90 to 92. That's for an ATAR calculator. You can also get an instant study score estimate based on your child's current marks if they submit a report or a marking guide. All of these examples of really quantifiable and even time-bound results. So that's really good. You also want to make a lead magnet fast and easy to consume when you're making it. So humans naturally default to the easiest and the most convenient route or action. So make it stupidly simple to engage with your lead and make it available in ebook, in audio, in video, in physical format. as much as possible. So some prospects prefer one method of consumption while others will prefer another. They might be equally as qualified, but some will just prefer this way while others will prefer this way. For example, when I go on a run, I prefer my audio podcast, something I don't need to really watch on my phone. Whereas when I'm at work, I prefer engaging videos that really make me want to continue listening. So make it available, make it fast, and make it easy at their convenience and not necessarily yours. It will take a bit more time to create all these formats or the formats that your audience wants, but it'll be well worth it in the long run. So for software, these are the 4 types. For software, you want to make it accessible on your phone, computer, and multiple formats, and make the file size as small as possible if it is a software. This can also apply to info, right? For info, you want to use all consumption preferences and you want to make it as small as possible to download. For service, like free trials, free consultations, you want to make it available more times, more ways, and in more days. So if it's an online call, you want to have a lot of availabilities, like at least 20 they can book in. You want to make it available on phone call, on Zoom, on Google Meets even. And you want to be available more days. So not just available Tuesdays 5 to 7 p.m. every week for a free class, because another tutoring company that has more availability, they'll probably be getting the lead. Let's be honest. So products, you want to make it simple to open, simple to use, and simple to print, if it is a book, for example. I'm going to mention this one again. This comes from the principles, but you want to make your lead magnet truly exceptional. People buy on the expectation of future value. And what that means is the easiest way to get them to think they'll get value after they buy your service is just provide value before they buy, when they engage in your lead magnet. And how do we provide this value? By making our stuff exceptional. It's as simple as that. It's simple, it might not be easy, but it's the truth. Now, fluff and waffle will discourage people who would have bought. So keep things concise, use clear, simple, direct language. Remember, the market will judge you on your free thing, not necessarily the paid one. And why? Because the free thing is accessible to everyone. It's accessible to literally anyone on the internet that searches for you or just comes across you. Whereas the paid one is for people that you interact with, that you've built credibility with, and you've actually had a conversation with them most likely. So the market, broadly speaking, will judge you on your free thing. The value they feel they will get from your paid service will highly depend on the value they receive from your free thing. So give away the secrets and sell the implementation. Don't keep anything hidden. I know that's a common misconception, is to keep all the business secrets to yourself in terms of your service and how good you are. But the more you share for free or for a discounted rate, the more the market will rely on you and trust you and think you're an expert. So do that. Also, you want to make it easy to ask for more. You want to ensure that you enforce the reason to engage with your lead magnet right now. So another reminder to have urgency there. And you don't give the lead the opportunity to download or receive the lead magnet and just forget about it immediately, to just leave it in the inbox for the next 10 years. Have urgency. So you can do urgency and actually mean it. So 3 days left on this discounted trial class, that's pretty urgent. You can create scarcity, and that's preferably real as well. So you only have 10 free trials left, and so pick it up now while you can. You can communicate a reason why they should actually interact with you. And any reason is more compelling than no reason at all. So create that as you're making a lead magnet. And be creative. There's lots of ways to do this. In every single lead magnet you create, make sure you include an accessible way for the lead to get back in touch with you, or an easy way to continue to the next step if that is the logical progression. This can be as easy as just writing your contact info alongside a paragraph explaining what they can do next to solve their next problem. Another example, in a free ebook, you can include your phone number or socials at the bottom of every page in the footer section, or you can make the last page a natural call to action that transitions to the next ebook, a diagnostic assessment, or a discovery call, or you can do both at the same time. It's a great way to do it. Okay, so let's talk about tools. So how do we actually get to building the tools and using the tools to create your lead magnet? We've got a couple here. If you're creating visually appealing designs such as cheat sheets, workbooks, templates, resources, ebooks, Canva's great. You can click on the link. It's not affiliated. I just think it's great. You can use Canva. For creating short, engaging video tutorials or explainer videos, CapCut on either desktop or mobile works great. It's free. There is paid for some extra services and features, but the free version works great. Hello Audio, it's perfect for recording audio content, such as guided meditations or podcasts. Meditation is not as relevant for us, so you can do guided courses, lectures, or a podcast. So you want to use consistent branding and color in your schemes, and color schemes rather. So if you've got brand color and typography and your logo, make sure you have that in all of your lead magnets. You want to ensure the design aligns with your target audience's preferences. So if you have a relatively young audience, you want to make it visually striking, right? Whereas if it's an older audience, like somebody's grandparents, you might want to use something that's a little bit less intense. So remember, visual appeal and readability is a high priority though. So as much as design matters, so does readability and how easy it is to digest it. If you can, don't make something that can be 10 pages like 40, right? Unnecessary, and make sure that the text is big enough though. Okay, I believe this is the last section now, which is troubleshooting and why is my lead magnet not working? I just have a short point regarding this. If your lead magnet isn't generating leads, the issue is actually almost never technical. Of course, we'll check for whether it is, and you should too, to make sure that if they submit their email, they're actually receiving the lead magnet, right? That's a bad thing if you have a lead magnet opt-in form and they provide all their details, but the lead magnet actually never comes to them. That's terrible, don't want to do that. But more often than not, if you're not getting any leads, it's almost never technical. It's not the software, it's not the platform, it's almost always a value and relevance problem. So if you're not getting enough leads, it's usually that your lead magnet is just not good enough or attractive enough to your target audience. They're not engaging with it, and as a result, we're not getting their email or contact. If you imagine the lead is standing on one side of a gap, and our lead magnet is the bridge to get them to the next step or solve their problem, then the issue isn't that parents don't want the help, it's that your bridge doesn't feel strong, relevant, or valuable enough for them to actually cross. So I want you to ask yourself, does this solve a problem parents already care about? Is it clearly for a specific year level or situation or circumstance? Is the outcome obvious and measurable? Does the value appear quickly? Does it naturally lead to the next step? Because if you answered no to any of these, it's time to go back to the drawing board. Now, after doing all of this, if you find that you've just done all the steps correctly, you've managed to correctly follow all the steps, and it still doesn't work, then feel free to contact us and we'd be happy to audit your lead magnet on a call together. I'm going to leave this in closing. Remember, a lead magnet is not a one and done. You always want to iterate and improve because these things can die out and saturate. Even better, always have more than one valuable thing and more than one lead magnet, because different lead magnets exist for different levels of readiness, like we mentioned on the intent scale, and one asset is rarely enough. So create multiple ones, use the asset creation. By now, after this video, you should be ready to kind of go through every single one from the tool, from the actual content outlines, and get started on making it. But use the asset creation to make multiple lead magnets, make a copy for each one. Multiple strong lead magnets can work immensely in your favor, so have a go at that. Now, before I close things off, when you have completed the asset creation for your lead magnet, feel free to send it in our chat, right? We will have a personal chat. And if you send it through, my team and I will kind of audit it, make sure everything's good to go. And that's when you can start creating your lead magnet and formatting it on your own, or you can even get us to help you with that as well. Super excited to finish this module with you here for lead magnet mastery. Hopefully it's been useful. I trust that it has. And we're super excited to see what you can create for your free resources and lead magnets. And I'll see you in the next training. See you for now. So if this helped you understand how lead magnets actually work for tutoring businesses, then this is one small part of the entire system. In my next few videos, I'll be breaking down how to turn these into ads, content, and a full appointment booking machine. So if you're serious about growing your tutoring business this year, then make sure you're subscribed, because everything on this channel is about how to help you get there. Thanks for watching so much, and I'll see you in the next one.